Hey everyone, you are listening to the Divergent Conversations podcast. We are two neurodivergent mental health professionals in a neurotypical world. I'm Patrick Casale.
And I'm Dr. Neff.
And during these episodes, we do talk about sensitive subjects, mental health, and there are some conversations that can certainly feel a bit overwhelming. So we do just want to use that disclosure and disclaimer before jumping in. And thanks for listening. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Divergent Conversations in our collection of worn down and worthy, not your typical wellness. And today we are going to talk about play, which is kind of a continuation of our last conversation, which was creativity.
Yeah. So for context for listeners, we literally just recorded the creativity and we're still recording. And so we're probably still a little bit in some heaviness. And one thought that just came into my head is I think if creativity helps us metabolize pain, among other things, I think play helps us hold it. I think it helps to hold the heavy, and that play can be so important in times like these. And at the same time, it can bring on a lot of guilt because it can be like, well, I shouldn't be laughing or playing or experiencing joy right now because do you see what is happening in the world? I must be a shit person if I'm experiencing any sort of positive emotion right now.
Yep. Yeah. And I know that we both kind of talked about this off air and how we've experienced that ourselves. And I know I experienced that for sure, where I'm like, how can I possibly take joy or find joy or experience playfulness when all of this horrific stuff is happening? Like we could go down, we're not going to go down a list of all the horrific things that are happening because it would
we
never
don't need
end.
to do that.
It would never end. And I think
and it would be outdated by the time this airs.
I know. Yeah, by the time we post it, there would be 1,000 new atrocities, which is a whole different conversation. But if we don't allow for ourselves to find joy, even in these small moments or in these small like blips in our lives, I think that we've lost our humanity in a lot of ways too. If we're not allowed to access playfulness and joy. And what did we referenced Unetta Smith, who's on the podcast before. I wish I could find that clip to reference exactly what she said in terms of like just Black joy. She was talking about Black joy and how important it is in terms of resistance and advocacy, and how you have to find these moments where you don't let other people take that away from you, and how important that is.
Yeah. Yeah. If we could find that clip, I'd love to share it in our show notes because it was really powerful. And I think she said something in there like, don't mistake our laughter for kind of not experiencing pain or not doing advocacy. And I feel like she said something about like Black people have had to figure out how to keep their aliveness and humanity amidst so much oppression and suffering. And the way she said it was obviously much better than either of us can try to recap it. But it is part of resistance. It is part of resistance to hold on to our humanity in that way, through play, through lightness, through laughter, through joy.
Yeah. It's such a different perspective. I think the suffering of white people sometimes and how we respond to things, because we're so not used to like being the persecuted or the people who need to resist or being threatened. And I would say, like, you know, there are times with my wife and I where we talk about this and she's like, don't confuse like my laughter and mood and the silliness and the things that I enjoy for not paying attention to what's happening around me, right? Like I'm very aware, but I'm not going to let them take this from me. And I'm just like always like, damn, okay, I need to be a bit more resilient then.
I love that. I'm not going to let them take this from me. And that is what I think what white people have to learn from movements that have gone before us, especially Black and brown movements, of if they've lived in oppressive systems that have been trying to take their humanity for a very long time, and they have found some very beautiful, powerful, creative rituals to hold on to their humanity. And white people, we haven't figured that out yet because we're usually the ones taking humanity.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is like this concept that we're thinking about and talking about right now is a culmination of all of our episodes combined of like community, connection, creativity, everything swirled into one to be able to access playfulness, joyfulness, and just really having those experiences throughout your day or your week or your month.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's the other
ahead.
side of the coin for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, I don't remember what episode it was, that you had put into Chat GPT, what are some hobbies for me?
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is what I get stuck on. Is like, okay, when I look at it as this meta concept of like, I need to find new hobbies or things that I enjoy, that becomes really daunting. But if I can try to figure out like moments throughout the day where I can experience joy or laughter or playfulness or silliness or whatever, that feels way more accessible to me than like going to do jujitsu or like going to pottery paint or figuring out what else I like to do with my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm the same way in that, and partly every hobby I've ever had, I try to make it productive because I'm just addicted to this productivity thing. It's really bad and like hyper achieving. So like I had a huge crochet season, and then I was like, how do I start an Etsy shop? This was in my like 20s. So hobbies. I have a complex relationship to hobbies. And so I'm more similar to you. It's finding the energy. And I think of play as an energy, not necessarily an activity. So when I think about when I dip into playfulness, it's actually like shocker, usually through connection, which has been a running theme here. It's maybe like in the Nook, if I'm in the forums and I'm chatting with people and there's sarcasm or there's humor. Humor is a huge one for me. And recently on Substack, I found some new connections, and I found people for whom they really appreciate dark humor. And that to me has been an interesting discovery of, I knew I liked dark humor, but I've often kept it pretty closeted because dark humor can be pretty, well, confusing and disorienting and worrisome to some. But finding people for whom we can just let it rip with like dark humor, that has been so playful for me recently. So a lot of it is humor and connection and kind of banter in community. I think that's my favorite way to play right now.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that as well. And with the friends who I wake up to like have sent me funny reels or funny gifs or funny memes throughout the day. And I wake up to like 5 or 6 people who do this consistently. And I just like watch them and laugh, and it allows me to feel connected to them. And I'm like, oh, they were thinking about me when they sent this, and they know my humor style, and it's super helpful. It's just like these little things, you know, that can be so useful. And I think that for me, I so often have a hard time experiencing that like joyfulness or playfulness. So dark humor is also the key to my heart. And I actually have a thread in my group practice going right now because we're doing like a virtual game night tonight. And the thread has gotten pretty dark already. And I'm like not even involved in it. And I'm just watching it as I'm doing other things today. And I'm just like chuckling to myself. I'm like, good, we're all kind of on the same page for whatever the hell we're going to be doing tonight.
Well, it goes back to how play helps us hold the heavy, right? It's and clinicians right now, there's a lot of heaviness clinicians are holding. So finding ways to hold that is so important. And it can look weird. It can look weird sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, if you're us, it's probably going to look weird most of the time. And I think that's important too. And, you know, there's the one thing that we were thinking about too is like the guilt that comes with play, or the guilt that comes with joy at times when things are going really poorly or really a struggle. And that's why so often, like we talked about in that content consumption episode, sometimes we really need separation to be able to access play and joy as well. And the other side of the coin is like, our devices also are a gateway into play and joy and connection and community. So trying to find the things that work for you. And I have like specific video clips or YouTube clips or things that I know if I really need to laugh, like I just need to watch them on repeat, or I need to watch them again and again. And they really do help my mood. One thing that I love, for those of you who are Ted Lasso fans, and there is a scene where Roy and Keely are talking with Phoebe, Roy's niece, and she has like horrifically bad breath, and she's like breathing it in Keely's face and in Roy's face, and they're both reacting like this is horrible. And Keely goes first, and she makes this face, and Roy goes, "Hell, oi, it can't be that bad." And then she breathes in his face, and he goes, "I think you might be dying." And every time that scene comes on, Ariel is cackling, like laughing so hard. And that brings me so much joy to like experience that on repeat whenever I need it.
Like you have a video of watching it and Ariel's laughter in the back. Oh, that's such a sweet. That's so cool. That's so connecting. I love that.
And I can turn that on. Like if I know she's having a bad day, I can turn that scene on and it elicits the same reaction and response almost every single time.
I love that. I love that. I think that's such a good, we're trying to pull out a few like tips for people. I think that's such a good one of having a playlist of like a laugh playlist or a play box.
This episode is on play and joy. So take that as you will.
Sure, like take that as you will. Have a play box.
Yeah.
I just got awkward and red. Take it from me. Patrick, you've got the hot potato now.
Yeah. So I think that like having access to these things. Go ahead.
Can I actually, people keep asking us to do a series on sex. And I'm like, you really don't want me and Patrick talking about sex. Like it's so,
you just don't. It would just be so awkward.
It was so hard.
So uncomfortable. Talk about like laugh. If you all need joy and laughter in your life, maybe we do need to do that episode.
Oh my gosh.
We just be embarrassingly saying things and then cringing and laughing because we're so uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh. So I actually would feel comfortable recording that like for like the little Substack community we're building. I would not feel comfortable releasing it to the world. That would be so awkward, which would be so funny.
It would be very awkward and it would be very funny. God, I can't go down that rabbit hole right now.
Okay,
but,
yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. Back to
I don't know
play box pivot. You were just going to save me from my discomfort.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. I think like if you have your animals at home, like being able to play with your animals, like being able to just laugh at them. I laugh at my Shih Tzu all the time. He drives me insane, but he's so funny to look at and to laugh at. So like it allows me to, even when he's doing the most obnoxious, annoying shit, and I can just look at his little face with his like mismatched teeth, and he's always looking at you with his like overbite, and I just laugh at him, and it just like helps me just feel a little bit more relieved and relaxed in certain moments. So like there are these things that are accessible around us on a pretty consistent basis, and trying to get laughter more into your life, like even in small doses and spurts right now when things feel really freaking heavy.
Yeah. Laughter's huge. Yeah. I like comedies. Do you like comedies?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, but they need to be like really fucked up comedies.
Or like comics. Wait, not words. Like stand-up comedians. There we go. Like I actually don't love comedies. It's usually too sensory overwhelming, but I like comedians.
So when I sent you the other day, you were like, this is
I don't know how you can watch that. Like that is so sensory overwhelming. Like the slapstick humor. Like Ted Lasso I can do because there's funny, but it's like metabolized funny. But just slapstick or like Will Ferrell, I cannot. No,
I don't
so sensory
really
overwhelming.
think he's funny anymore, but I think I used to find him really enjoyable, like maybe a decade ago.
I've always just found him sensory overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure he's a lovely human. Or
everything
I'm not sure. Maybe he's a lovely human.
That reaction though, you know? I think it's like very reactionary type of humor, but I love stand-up comedians. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have favorites that you are like, I could watch this person's like stand up or this like gig over and over?
I do, but I'm really bad at names, even
Mm.
musicians. So I do, but I'm would blank on names. There's someone, her first name is Taylor, and she talks about bipolar and mental health and religious trauma. So I love like, and she's just really funny. And
Yeah.
but the way she talks about mental health, I think I think it's mostly bipolar. I feel like she maybe talks about other aspects of mental health, but and then also the way she talks about religious trauma. It's just I really like her work. I like
Well, it's like,
comedians who like offer a critique of society.
yeah.
I used to like Louis C.K. before like
Yeah.
he
Before,
got
like, yeah,
yeah.
before he started pulling his, yeah, before he got canceled. Let's use that word.
Before that, I really
Before
liked
that.
Louis C.K. Yeah.
Yep.
Because
I
he was
like
really
Dave
good at doing
Chappelle
the
before.
social
He
critique.
also went down a dark path of a lot of transphobia, and it was just like, God,
Who did?
damn it. Dave Chappelle.
Oh,
But we
I have
had
not followed his
Sam
work.
Silverman on here, who was a comedian and a psychiatrist, and we talked about that on that episode, right? Where like it's like this critique of not only yourself but life in general, and I think that is so relatable and so hilarious. There's a comedian who went through sobriety. His name is John Mulaney, and he's kind of obnoxious in a lot of ways, and some of you may know him. But he has a stand-up on Netflix about his process of getting sober and his active addiction years, and it's just, to me, absolutely freaking hysterical. And I've watched it, and I've been like, Ariel, watch this. This is so funny. And she's like, this is so fucking stupid, and I love it. So I can watch that repeatedly and laugh at the same jokes over and over and over again.
I love that. Hannah Gatsby. I can't believe I didn't mention Hannah Gatsby. Hannah Gatsby's work, which is always like deeply funny and deeply emotional.
Yep.
And yeah.
I think poking fun at ourselves and our own experiences and our own struggles helps us, like you said, hold the heavy in a lot of ways. And I know I'm thinking about moments. I think a lot of autistic people can probably relate to like other people finding us funny when we're not trying to be funny, because it's just delivery sometimes. And I remember sitting with my mom and her husband and saying something, and he was like, you could be a stand-up comedian with your like deadpan delivery. And I'm like, I think it's just called me being autistic. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not trying to be funny right now, but
yeah, my humor gets missed a lot because I'll be sarcastic in a really dry way. Or through pattern recognition, like I'll bring back, because I remember a lot of biographical details, so I'll bring back something someone said, but in an ironic way, and then they just think I'm like totally misunderstanding them. It's really fun.
And then they misunderstand you, and then it goes like in repeat in a circle.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah,
I think that for me, this is a topic that's interesting because I keep realizing I'm like trying to offer solutions here, and I don't really have any. I just think that I have to laugh at myself or at horrific things all the time in order for me to get through my day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, because the option is to laugh or shame spiral. And yeah, like you sent me, which I think is a really funny typo the other day, and I did correct it because I was like, I'll just feel better. And you sent it to me soon enough, but it was, and it was so funny because I was doing my OCD checking thing of all my posts, and I literally had the thought, it'd be so funny if there's a typo in this title page. So I went and checked to make sure that epidemic was spelled right, but the typo was so ironic. Instead of saying, because I think the title was like, not an epidemic, a failure to see, but it's a failure to see. So like that's like I did a typo on failure. So failure is a new word that Megan has created.
For so long to like, should I send this? I don't want to like, I didn't want you to have to like stress it. I also didn't know if you cared. So I was like, I don't even know if I should send this. But then I told you, like, I thought it was like, when you see your friend have something in your teeth, do you say something because you're like, hey, you have something in your teeth? Or do people just let it be? And you're like, So I was just trying to really sit with that, and I didn't want it to create any stress for you. And then I went down this rabbit hole of like, oh my God, all of Megan Anna's stuff is in front of so many people and all this stuff. And like, she's perceived in all of these ways. I need to tell her this. But then I instantly sent it and I was like, I wish I didn't send that. What if she gets offended by this? What if she's like, Patrick, this just ruined my night. I had to go back and like fix everything and repost it. I really went down both of those paths.
Okay, the Megan Anna that lives in your head is kind of a bitch. Like, why would I ever do that? And how do we fix the Megan Anna that lives in your head?
I love the Megan Anna that lives in my head. I know that the OCD is strong, and I know that if someone told me the same thing, I would like be like, oh fuck, I got to go find all the places it's posted. Now I got to fix it. Now I got to do. And I told you I spelled epidemice the other day and forgot. And I did the same thing. I was like, but I was rushing to post something in reaction to my own emotions about something, which I'm trying better not to do that. And I posted this thing about epidemic, but it was epidemice. And now it lives forever because Instagram doesn't let you edit your photos, which is so stupid.
It's so, especially because it's gone viral, like if it's gone viral and then it gets reposted. My experience of that was like, I was like, oh shit. Cause yeah, it is a bit of work to repost, but I was also very glad to know, cause it was pretty early. I just posted it. But also I didn't actually freak out in this. I was like, that's annoying because I've just spent 5 hours doing a task that feels like it should not have taken me that long. But shoot, my thought, where'd it go? But it wasn't, I didn't have the like shame spiral. So the first time this happened to me, it's actually really funny. It was one of the first times I was posting on AuDHD, and the cover, it was a carousel post, was 5 mistakes, or like something about 5 mistakes in AuDHD, or 5 things I wish I'd learned. And on the cover image, like mistakes or AuDHD, there's a typo. And I didn't notice till it had gone viral and someone mentioned it. And I did start to have a shame spiral. And then I was like, this is hilarious. This is literally what I'm talking about with AuDHD mistakes. Is like, I just don't see things like that. So when I see, there are times that I'm like, that's annoying that that's viral, but mostly I'm just like, yeah, that's the AuDHD. That's the dyslexia. I'm just showing off at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, if you talk to like a social media marketing person, they'd be like, put typos in your post for a reason, because then people will like comment on them and pick them out and drive your engagement.
Wait, are you serious? That's a strategy?
Yeah, that's a strategy.
That's so gross.
But then my brain is like, it doesn't work that way for me. So I can't allow for that to happen. And with the epidemice situation for me, I started laughing because so many comments were about the fact that I spelled autism is not an epidemice instead of epidemic. And I was like, I guess this is driving engagement. I guess this is fine. Like, I don't know what to do about this anymore. So I was about to delete it, but then there were all these comments that were really good comments. And I'm like, I don't want to delete their work. So
creator tip of the day, intentionally misspell things.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard people say like intentionally ask controversial questions or to have hot takes. And that just seems so cruel to me, because I'm going to intentionally activate people's nervous systems to get engagement.
Yeah.
Like,
and I can't go down that path.
Oh, I mean, I don't follow any of the engagement. Like I don't.
No.
Yeah. I just think that's the wrong question to be asking. It should be asking 100%. Like, how do I show up for people and provide them something? Typos and all.
I agree 100%. Someone I know used to put like in their videos little like what they would call Easter eggs on their screen. So like folders up on the taskbar that would be like Bill Clinton's sex, whatever, like literally things that would make people see it and be like, do you see this thing in this screen? And they would like drive insanely and the amount of engagement was enormous from this stuff. And I was just like, I cannot do that. I cannot live with like having to filter through the comments or deal with the like responses to stuff like this. This is not how I can operate. So,
well, and I would judge you if you were doing that, because it's manipulative. It's manipulating people's attention. Yeah.
Feels really gross. I feel like our businesses would be in interesting spots if we embraced like neurotypical quote unquote marketing strategies.
Interesting spots like worse, better.
Probably more lucrative, but not better.
Mm.
You would be value trading. You would be trading like value of what you stand for versus capitalism is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. I want to be able to like live with myself very well. So yeah, no, thanks.
Yeah, not for me.
Pass. Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this topic.
It was because play and type. So that was the first time I caught a big typo that had gone viral. I started to shame, and then I caught it with play.
Yep.
And so yeah, when you caught my falter, that was also I was able to like, because I created a neural pathway there of like, oh, okay, I can respond to play here. Yeah. And I did that in that of like, this is really funny. And so being able to laugh at ourselves, same things with my awkwardness. Like I do genuinely, I was sharing this. I sometimes will get jealous of you and your cute little social ligaments. And I wish I had more of those, but being able to make fun of my awkwardness. And that's why I also don't mind the word awkward, is that's one of the ways that I bring some playfulness to how I experience myself. The area, you know, where I've not been able to be playful, but I'm trying, is my ADHD executive functioning. So I actually have I've started doing kind of business coaching consulting, and it's really put a light on just how significant my executive functioning struggles really are. And I think I have a lot of shame around that. And so, you know, I've got a space in the Nook, the ADHD confessional or the neurodivergent confessional. So sometimes I'll post pictures and I'm trying to be playful with it, but that one's hard for me because there's a lot of shame. But when I'm able to be playful, it helps melt some of that shame.
What are some of the like playful ways you've found that are helpful for that specific part of your life?
I think making fun of myself. So maybe it's sharing. So my team knows how much I struggle because they're often organizing after me, like my trail of chaos. So maybe it might be sharing the ridiculousness that is my desktop, or the ridiculousness that is my bathroom counter. Or sometimes I don't even post it, but like I found something really gross. I'm not even going to share it because it's too much shame. But I was like, this would be such a funny post of like taking a picture of this thing that happened that's really gross. Hashtag like ADHD is not cute.
Yep.
So often it's making social media posts in my head that I would never actually post. Again, shame. But yeah.
Would it be do you think it would be useful at all to like actually make the post, not post it, but go through the act of actually making it?
No, because my OCD would be flaring. My OCD would be like, because that's one of my OCD things, is around posting and like accidentally posting inappropriate things, even though I literally don't have inappropriate things, but
Sure. So you would be like, your OCD would immediately kick in and like check all your platforms over and over and over again. Like, did I post this thing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting strategy. I bet a lot of ADHDers can relate to some of that, because I know I struggle so often with my own executive functioning, and you know, it just feels so chaotic so often that being able to laugh at it would be really humanizing. Yeah,
I was going to ask you if you bring any play around that, or around other just like vulnerable things you feel shame around or vulnerable around.
Yeah, I think I feel shame around so much that I do such a good job of doing self-deprecating humor all the time. Like, even when I'm on stages speaking, I have to make fun of myself. Like, I have to do it.
Because it's playful and it helps hold it. Yeah. Also, I just had an association. Can we make a shame bingo card, like a bingo card of like our shame?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely.
What would be on your bingo card?
Oh my God, so much. It's like, did I react poorly to something? Does this person not like me because I said something a certain way? Did I like have an interaction that went poorly? Did I forget to do something? There's so much. I mean, there's just so much.
And so much of that really is attachment based for you again.
Yeah.
Are people upset with me? Did I
That's like a core belief of mine, is like, are people upset with me? Did I do something wrong? Like, it's so deep. Bingo card for sure.
Okay, I think we need to gamify this. Like, literally, we should do the play thing. So let's make a bingo card for you and a bingo card for me. And then whoever gets the most what is it called? Bingos or straight lines? Bingos. Whoever gets the most bingos on your card or my card is either Team Patrick or Team Megan Anna.
Okay. Yeah,
And
we can do that.
We'll see whose shame brings the most people around.
This is yeah, I think that'll be a good post. You love creating graphics, so I can give you all the shame pieces for myself. Yeah, I think laughing at it has to happen for me. I noticed that laughter, self-deprecating humor is really regulating to my nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm feeling really, really anxious about a thing, professionally especially, and I can make fun of myself and the audience can laugh, good. I'm like drop immediately into like the experience. But otherwise, it very much feels like heart beating out of chest, so anxious, so like much in perfectionism mode, so much struggling to like drop into authenticity and vulnerability. But I have to elicit the laughter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I could be a good stand-up comedian if I really put my heart into it.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
I need a career change. I've already been thinking that. So if it's just hour after hour of self-deprecating humor, I feel like, yeah, why not?
I would come.
I
Wait,
mean, going
we
back
should
to
do
your
that.
bingo card idea, shame, active addiction for almost 10 years of my life. So many things that I feel shame about. Like, but so many things that I can make fun of myself for now too. And I think it's really built me up into the person that I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So play can be connecting, can melt shame.
You're doing the social ligament thing now.
Yeah.
Role reversal. Yeah. I think we're both tired too. I think that's what's also happening is like our first episode today was heavy. And now we're like, how do we hold the heavy?
Play. The lightness. Yeah. I have felt an energy increase though as we've been talking. Like this, there's been elements of this conversation that's felt playful to me.
Yeah.
And that has been like I've felt more energy in my body as we've gotten into a more playful energy, you and me.
Well, one thing we've said, I think it was last week maybe, or just in general, is when you and I can both be on here and laugh together and like laugh at each other, that we feel more connected. And I feel that way. Like when we're both like laughing about this stuff, it makes me feel more not only connected to you, but just as a human, like to just be laughing about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think laughter is so connecting. So connecting. Yeah. And that gets back to neurodivergent community is I think we do like we'll all have different humor, but there is kind of a flavor to neurodivergent humor that like we can get and appreciate. And so to be able to find the people with whom we can enjoy humor and laughter and play.
Yeah. For those of us who are neurodivergent mental health professionals, there's a lot of darkness in the helping profession, as we've talked about. There's a lot of dark humor in the profession and in all helping professions, really. When you are having to experience a lot of heaviness of humanity, you need an outlet for it. You really do need to channel it and release it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we're getting to our summary time of where we tell people to go do all of the things.
It's your turn.
Okay. But what if we made it authentic? Because I feel like every show ends with like not you, but like podcasts and YouTube. It's like if you're listening, like hit subscribe button. So if you do enjoy our conversations, first of all, welcome to the Weird Club, because that's just no, that was weird. Okay, scratch that. This is why there's a script. I am genuinely, sometimes I'm genuinely like, why do so many people listen to us? But then I'm also, I think I get it. But if you're one of those people that do listen to us, okay, real talk, like we have been tired and we do love this podcast and we're going to continue and keep showing up because we really enjoy each other and believe in this work. And there are some ways that like you can legit help us if you are enjoying it. So things, I don't know this as much as you do, but things like Apple, like leaving Apple reviews, that helps it so other people can find us. So it also increases neurodivergent advocacy because then people can find us. So if you believe in the kind of stuff we're saying, if you are a therapist and you want to go check out Jane, first of all, like they're doing some really cool stuff. They're one of the safer platforms for autistic people, but also that means that they'll be more likely to want to continue to work with us. So that's a really tangible way
allows us to make more free content.
Which allows us to make more free content. Yep, exactly.
Because we want accessible free content and we're both exhausted. So we just have to figure out the balance. Yeah.
And also, speaking of accessibility, I don't know that people realize this. We've always made transcripts free on the website. That's not behind a paywall. It never will be behind a paywall. Because that's an accessibility thing. So all the transcripts are always on the website. So if you do, speaking of interconnection, we've been talking about interconnection. Like if folks are wanting to be like feel interconnected to us, there are ways they can support our work through down, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
The stuff. No, that's a good way to name that. Like there are ways to do that. And we have a YouTube channel. So all of these video recordings go on YouTube. So if that's your processing style and listening style, they're on there with captions. The transcripts are always on our website, divergentpod.com, I think. Yes. If you are a therapist in private practice and you need a new EHR, use code DCPOD because you'll get 2 months. And it's in a weird spot when you go to sign up. It's all the way at the bottom. It kind of says like corporate
education association or corporate code.
Association code. That's where it goes.
Step 1 of the sign up page. Yep.
And then we also have a Substack that we are getting off the ground. So there are lots of ways to support. And Megan Anna is right. If you like our podcast, if you feel like it's valuable, rating it highly on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify is super helpful for us. And it takes about 30 seconds of your time. Unless you want to leave a 1-star review about how much you hate my voice, then maybe share that on a different podcast.
Then maybe skip the review.
Or give us a 5-star review, but still say it. Just give us the 5 stars. That'd be great. Anyway, that's a good closing statement for today. And we are going to continue this collection on #NotYourTypicalWellness and record some more episodes tomorrow. So goodbye.